Within the past 6 months, Stompin has become Siege's most doubted player. Tweets, Reddit posts, thousands of people saying he cannot compete with the pros. Coming from console, many believe he's an overrated player with no true potential. Fast forward to now, we can look at every single one of those comments and say, they were wrong. Stompin is a rookie player competing under G2 in Siege's Pro League, and he couldn't ask for a better start to his career. He's performing way better than all of the doubters have said. He helped his team reach #1 in the grand finals of EML, but the most notable one is him dropping 19 kills on a Falcons, who was one of the best teams in Europe. Now, there were many interesting moments throughout that game, so I'm going to go through the strategies both teams used and see exactly how Stompin was able to get that high kill count. Let's begin with round 1. But just before we get into everything, you will notice throughout this whole game, everyone is playing on a nice, stable connection. You can also get that same luxury by trying out Gear Up Booster. My ping normally sits around 80 to 90 on central servers, but when I enable Gear Up, it drops down by a very large amount. Gear Up is also really good if you want to play on servers far away from you. To make that happen, you will go to the top and then click on this icon. Then you'll see a list of all the other regions. Simply select on whichever one you want. After a second, it will load up and now you have reduced latency, no packet loss, and overall get a much better experience. If you play on console, you can also get all of these features by purchasing their HyperRev gaming router. And this router does support Wi-Fi, but if you want a much better connection, your purchase also comes with 2 complementary Ethernet cables. Gear Up has been used by many other creators throughout the Siege space, so everything is 100% safe to use. You can go ahead and click the link in the description or the pinned comment and try it out with a free trial. The match is taking place on a bank, and G2's bomb site of choice is downstairs in the basement. Stompin's main role here is to hold down Garage. He locks an echo this round and uses one camera to peek outside of the building, which will catch if Falcons at any moment sends a player to lurk this way. But nothing ever happens over in Garage as Falcons decide to take map control elsewhere. They gain full control of the hatches and also full control of server. Now, the most common way to plant on this site is by opening this server wall and then getting the diffuser down on the edge just barely inside the site. But the setup from G2 includes a mirror on that server wall that they decided to pop open, which may seem odd, but because of the mirror being open here, the only way to breach the wall and get the common plant spot is with Hibana or Ace. But this is where it gets interesting because G2 has banned both Hibana and Ace this round, which means there's no counter to the mirror on the wall that prevents the common plant spot from being used. So Falcons have to make a different play, and they do so by opening the other server wall, and then have Uses extend the Monty shield to give enough cover for Solotov to plant right behind him. Now, G2 has plenty of planted now. Doki and Alamau both have C4s, Lore with 3 smoke canisters, and Stompin with concussors on the Echo drones. With that planted now, they're able to burn down time to the last couple of seconds. You can see Falcon shot at plant, but a smoke just blooms right in their face. If we go back to Stompin, he hops on the Echo drones and is able to stop the plant one time with the concuss, but only one time before he runs out of charges, and the diffuser eventually goes down. At this point, heading into a post-plant situation like this, getting a gunfight is the easiest way for an advantage. So as Stompin is heading back to site, Leaky Fact drops the blue hash to crunch the other G2 players trying to stop the plant. He gets one kill but is stopped by Stompin before getting anyone else. Stompin follows through with that momentum and he almost gets useless, but his bullets end up hitting his shield. And then this shot on Solotov just speaks for itself. The final post-plant scenario is a 2 versus 1 against Uses, and with Uses being on Monty, he has to get aggressive here. If he gives up space, that would entirely be in favor of G2. But Stompin and Doki do a good job of fighting together here, pushing Monty back far enough for Doki to stick the defuse behind a hard wall. And while he defuses, Stompin will cover him, and Stompin gets a little risky here swinging into Uses, but he ends up getting a kill anyways. That puts 3 kills on the board for Stompin and moves us forward to round 2, where the setup from G2 gets even more interesting. G2 now go to the top floor bomb site, and they're putting tons of resources into holding down the stock hall. They have a Clash playing in the middle of the hall to contest stock room, a deployable shield to help fight top square, and Jaeger ADSs as well as mute jammers placed all around to support both of the shields. The only reason this setup is possible falls back on them banning Hibana and Ace. See, Bank is a very open map, so ranged hard breaches are needed majority of the time. What attacking teams would do is get on the lobby rappel with Ace or Hibana and open up this wall here. And this creates a long angle that can see everything in the hallway where G2 have their setup at. But because of the bans, there's no other characters in the game that can open this wall up. So it's a pretty cool strategy pro teams are adapting to on Bank. By banning both of the ranged hard breaches, it opens up many different options on defense, but in this round Falcons actually counter it pretty well. Now, because Falcons can't get on the long lobby rappel angle, they need something else to take space with, and the best characters on attack that can create space are shields, so Bride locks in Blackbeard and he'll pretty much be the heart of this push. It starts with them clearing out utility by grenading the frost mask off the stock windows. They also attempt to floor drone the deployable shield, but this is where those mute jammers come into play. Now Falcons' play here is to send the Blackbeard in the stock room because, once again, for them to create space, having a shield character is best for the situation. Shaika will also be supporting Bride's push from top square, and this creates a really good pinch on G2 setup. So that's the main side of the push, but in a pro-level attack, there will always be pressure from somewhere else around the map, and in this situation, Stompin has to be aware of that. He has no option but to shift focus away from the main push and worry about the flashes coming down from the skylight, and also Leaky Fact full sprinting up the lobby stairs. While Stompin focuses on that, everyone else on G2 kinda just crumbles. Bride gets an isolated 1v1 with Laura and ends up winning it, and Laura was playing the deployable shield holding top square, but with him now being dead, it creates a gap that Shaiko can immediately punish. Shaiko walks from top square in a janitor like it's free real estate and takes out Alamau, shoots Frostmac, continues forward, takes out Doki as well. This attack was very good from Falcons, and with Stompin focusing on the counter pressure, he couldn't really do anything about everyone else dying. But he does trade with Shaiko at the end, so we're counting that as a kill to the board. Heading into the third round, G2 go to the same bomb site and once again pull out a very different mirror strat. They reinforce these 3 janitor walls, but Stompin puts a mirror on the far right wall and pops it open. What teams will normally do is leave the far right wall soft and then reinforce the square wall so the players in janitor don't get wallbanged, but G2 do the complete opposite. Now, it still provides cover for the janitor players if they crouch like Alamau does here, but the real use of the mirror is for plant denial. The common plant spots for the site is anywhere along this wall. Sometimes it's on the right, to the left, closer to the desk, just anywhere in this general area. But when crouching behind the mirror, you can throw utility onto all of those plant spots from a super safe position. In G2's case, this is smokes or C4s. Now Falcons move in with their attack and eventually get to a spot where they can try to get a plant down. And for them to make that happen, they put 2 players on the windows covering the planter. But the most important piece is Leaky Fact shooting a Capitale fire into the open mirror on the janitor wall. But as you can see, it gets caught by a Wamai disc. See, that fire would have prevented Stompin from using the open mirror. But with it being caught by a Wamai disc, Stompin the plant becomes much easier for Stompin. Leaky Fact replaces Bride with planting the diffuser, and as he's getting it down, Stompin hears the plant sound, so he tosses a C4 through the opening of the mirror right onto the position of the planter and successfully denies it. Now the final 2 Falcons players are both on the side windows, and Stompin gets a call out that they're there, so he swings out and hits such a good shot to close out this round. That is 2 more kills for Stompin in this match, and also 4 more in the next rounds, but we're going to skip over those because everything was pretty self-explanatory, although Stompin still had impactful moments. But there's other players on G2 that obviously also had impactful moments, so I looked at some of their plays to figure out what is it that actually makes this team come together. I recognize that G2 has many playstyles they can switch to throughout each game, whether it's a lurk play, playing set strategies, getting crazy and fighting everyone, whatever it is, they're just really good at adapting to what's needed in that point in time. One playstyle that's fairly popular for them is lurk plays. Falcons go to the basement bomb site, and over in Garage, they place a singular bulletproof camera on the back wall. Garage is a spot known for being prone to lurks. You can simply walk from spawn, shoot the default camera outside, then all of a sudden you're in the building without making any noise. When G2 begin their attack, Laura makes his way over to Garage, eventually getting all the way up to the truck, and he now has the ability to split the defense up. The way he can split them up is by holding this angle into the red hall, which is in between both of the bomb sites. And for Falcons to move back and forth, they have to cross right into Laura's line of sight, which you could probably tell is a big problem. Now Falcons do spot him on the bulletproof camera, so they want to do something with this information. They coordinate a fight with 3 players in total. Uses on a long angle with an ACOG, and he'll be taking a fight from the red hall, and then the other 2, Bride and Solotov, are up front taking first contact. In theory, Laura at most gets 1 kill here and then immediately gets traded. But when Falcons call to swing together, Laura does a great job of isolating the fights. He uses the cover from the truck to get a separate 1v1 with Solotov, and he ends up winning that pretty fast. But being able to use the environment around him are gunfight mechanics that most pro players have. He does the same here by getting behind this pillar so Bride can't see him on the left, and that gives him another separate 1v1 with Usus, and honestly, not even 1v1, he just straight up wallbangs him. The round gets to a 3v1 and Bride is last alive. G2 can now work on getting the bomb down on the other site, and for Bride to do something about that, he has to cross right into Laura's line of sight, and in SMG 11 versus the DMR in this situation, I think it's safe to say the DMR got that. But this is a way G2 can switch things up. You could say this was half lurk, half not, because Falcons wasn't caught off guard by it, but it's a playstyle they can mix in with many of their others. For example, in his next round, there's been slower pace plays throughout this whole game, so G2 decided to switch things up yet again. G2 called to rush the top floor bomb site this time, and their lineup is utility heavy in a pretty basic way. They have flashbangs and smoke spread across 4 players, but they also lock in Aurora, and this character will play a big part in how everything plays out. G2 begin taking map control, and they're not looking to get much, they only want control of top square. Once they have top square, everyone focuses on rushing the site. Stompin hops on the site rappel and Ashes open the square wall, and this creates an opening for Blast to sprint into a smoke he threw himself in an attempt to plant inside of it. Now there's a lot that goes on in this round, and Alamau really has a pop-off moment getting a 3K in the middle of the site, but he's able to be the entry getting into this position solely because of Aurora. When everyone is hitting the site, Doki closes off 2 doors with Aurora. The first one on the double door leading to front desk, and then the second one on the double door leading into meeting room. The reason this is done is because it completely blocks any angles from the rooms behind the Aurora doors. The most important angle being blocked is the front desk one. If you're standing inside a front desk, you can see anyone rappelling in from either of the side windows, and this exact angle here is the biggest threat to Alamau. If we take a look at Alamau, he rappels in through one of the side windows, but with the front desk door being blocked off, he can simply rappel in and ignore that completely. You can see he isn't even worried about front desk at all, and that allows him to take many advantageous gunfights where he ends up getting a 3K very quickly. While everyone else is pushing into the site, Stompin sits back on the site rappel and is simply playing to cover his teammates. Eventually, Brede goes to retake square side and Stompin takes him out in the process. Stompin is looking really good on G2. That's 11 kills for him so far, and if you noticed, he's more of a support player, kind of stationary bro, but there's many times where he finds himself in crazy gunfights, and when he gets in those moments, he shines very well and maintains composure. For a rookie player, that is such a good attribute to have. Now we're going to skip over some rounds again where Stompin got 3 more kills, but this match ended up going 7-7 in overtime, and like I said, when it comes to those crazy gunfights, he shines very well, and it's not going to be any different coming into this round. It's another top floor hold from Falcons, and they go for a standard setup. Castles all around the site to block angles from top square, the side rappels, and etc. They also have Leaky Fact roaming below on Solus. He's looking to shoot drones and aggressively take fights while threatening a flank at all times. G2 start their attack similar to the last round, by shooting Auroras on the front desk and meeting room double doors. But one way you can counter the front desk Aurora on defense is by making shotgun holes on the soft wall right next to it. Well, that's pretty easy. Now Solotov decides to peek those same shotgun holes to fight these side rappels with an ACOG. The person on the side rappel is Stompin, and Stompin has the R4C on Ash, one of the best guns in the game, and he ends up headshotting Solotov through a pixel peek and as a smoke is fading right in front of his face. How does he even see him? You and me both don't have an answer. Stompin continuously keeps the pressure up, wallbanging the janitor wall, trying to bait out a fight, and Shaiko swings out, giving him another one. Getting the man count to a 4v3 just for fighting on the side rappels alone is amazing. Right after these 2 kills from Stompin, Leaky Fact on the roam goes for a flank square side. But G2 is in a team that mistakenly skips over fundamentals, so they actually have a player on a drone watching the flank. Now because they spotted Leaky Fact flanking square side, G2 send 2 players below to clear him in coordination, conveniently both being 3-speed operators. This serves as a perfect pinch on Leaky Fact, forcing him into a very awkward position. Leaky Fact ended up getting 1 kill, but Stompin is immediately there to trade that. The kill from Leaky Fact was another coordinated pitch from Falcons, which just goes to show how good both of these teams really are. But after these kills, you see Stompin and uses full sprinting to get back upstairs back to the bomb site. Pretty much perfectly synchronized timings. When Stompin gets back to his teammate, it turns into a situation of him baiting the planter. What that basically means is having Doki plant the diffuser, and because planting makes an audible noise, Falcons know exactly where the planter is, but they may not know exactly where Stompin is. That means Stompin has the advantage in these gunfights, so with everything on the line and 2 kills away from an ace, can he finally close it out?
They're either side of it, one in long desk, one trying to make their way up, and Doki's crouched himself close. The swing on janitors is empty. There's the swing onto the long desk either side. Now there's about to be another bit of pressure from the player. 30 seconds, other side of the Rara door, it opens up. Suddenly now, all the players are in an angle, and the plant is being attempted. There's Doki for a good. Oh, it's Stompin even. Doki is doing nothing because Stompin gets the ace.
An ace from Stompin to end this match after what so many people said about him. All those comments got shut down, and you love to see it. Make sure to try out Gear Up Booster if you want nice reduced latency when playing Siege. The pinned comment and also the description will have a link to the website. Thanks for watching. Later.